Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of It Beats Me, I Build It, a video series where I play standard with a twist. Every time I lose to a deck, I have to construct it myself and battle with it in my next round. Today, we're going to be kicking things off with deck number 6. But before I dive in, I want to remind you that if you enjoy the video and you're enjoying this series, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel for more content, and comment below with your questions, thoughts, and feedback. Now, let's dive into the initial deck tech. Okay, so this is the deck that defeated me to end the last episode. It is a black-green deck that generates a lot of pests with cards like Sedgemoor Witch and the Lesson Pest Summoning, and then it uses those pests to kind of drain the opponent out when you can like sacrifice them to Plumb the Forbidden when you have like Meathook Massacre in play or like a Witherbloom Apprentice. It's got some nice sacrifice shenanigans with Shambling Ghast, Eye Twitch, and then it's got like Village Rites to Deadly Dispute and Plumb the Forbidden. And then it's got a little bit of ramp in the form of Prosperous Innkeeper, Emergent Sequence. Accomplished Alchemist can tap for a bunch of mana sometimes, which can be really cool. And then it's just got a pretty solid mana base. The lesson board is Environmental Sciences, Fumes, Containment Breach, a bunch of pest summonings, and then one Mascot Exhibition. So we're going to dive into the ranked queues, and hopefully this deck can take us out of bronze. I'll see you there. Okay, so what are we working with here? Don't think this hand is playable, missing a green source, and just lacking like any real synergy, so we're going to mulligan. This hand is a lot better. It's got Eye Twitch plus Deadly Dispute already, and it's also got Plumb the Forbidden. I'm going to keep this and I'm going to get rid of Plumb the Forbidden because I do have Deadly Dispute, which is going to be better in this situation. And I'm going to start with the tapped Death Cap Glade, and then I'll just Emergent Sequence out so I can get my ramp going. Play the Eye Twitch a bit later. I think this deck can probably function in a mid-rangey role. Okay, so they're playing blue. Interesting. I think this deck is heavier on the black cards. So we'll play this. And Emergent Sequence out. Probably Forest here. Because I do have this, which is basically a swamp at this point. Then I can play Eye Twitch, hold up. I can play Witherbloom Apprentice and Eye Twitch in the same turn. Depends kind of on what they play here, whether or not they're like a color that would have a sweeper. Like if they play a mountain, I could see like not wanting to just play a bunch of small creatures, but they play that. Okay. Okay. I think we're in pretty good shape here. I can Deadly Dispute, sack the Eye Twitch to get Environmental Sciences. Wow, they just have all of these. Okay. Now I don't really need Environmental Sciences. I'm just going to play this. Play Witherbloom Apprentice. Number 2. And just hold up my mana. I don't know exactly what sweeper they would have. Okay, I played against this deck yesterday, maybe, or in the last episode. I know they have the massive Kraken at the top end, so I'm gonna have to do some stuff before they get really rolling with that. Having 2 Witherbloom Apprentices in play feels pretty good against that. This should be relatively straightforward. I'll do this. If they have a counter spell, they'll have to use it now. Or they might want to use it now to stop me from drawing. I will get Pest Summoning. Perfect. Because now I have Pest Summoning and Plumb the Forbidden going. Ooh, that's pretty good. So if they do have a sweeper, I'll draw a billion cards. And I'll get to copy the things a bunch of times. But with my Witherbloom Apprentice, because it's whenever I cast or copy. So I can do this. So they're at 12. Are they just dead? Oh, no. I don't know exactly how that interaction works. Like if I sacrifice all 5 of my creatures, will that cast this 6 times and trigger these 6 times, or will these no longer be in play? Really tough to say. I'm just going to let this resolve. I kind of want to try it at some point. That's a classic, like, does the interaction work? Hard to say. You have to kind of test things out, I guess. I've definitely tested some interactions out in this series already that have not worked the way I was hoping they would. But yeah, so far this is looking like we're doing pretty well in this game. They haven't really done anything to impact the board, so I just kind of have taken over. I'm sure there's a sweeper they could have. Yep, Doomscar. So we're gonna, I guess we'll get to see. So I guess it doesn't work if they're no longer in play. Good to know. How did I only draw 1 land in that entire situation? I'm gonna play this guy, and I'm gonna play Shambling Ghast. They're working towards Hullbreaker. Or so maybe I should have done 6 to them, but I did kind of want to test the interaction. Geez, couldn't draw a land to just jam Onyx here. That's kind of a bummer. And then we'll just hold up Deadly Dispute, sack the Shambling Ghast, get a Pest, get another treasure, hopefully draw a land. I think if we can jam Onyx this turn, that'll work out well for us. I feel like they must have Hullbreaker. You kind of just assume that they do in these situations. And then I could potentially kill them if I draw, if I play Witherbloom Apprentice and sacrifice a bunch of creatures coming up. This deck is pretty sweet. But yeah, they've looked through a lot of their cards. I'm assuming they've got... So they've got Memory Deluge, Revitalize, Doomscar. Oh, they hit a tap land. That's pretty good for me. Gives me a reprieve. Jeez Louise, I can't buy a land. This is insane. You gotta be kidding me. Did I really not draw a land? How have I drawn 4 lands in the top half of my deck? Well, I guess I ramped one out. I have 23 lands in here. What is happening? I can't believe it. That's just shocking to me. If I'd drawn a land, I could have just played land, Shambling Ghast, and only discarded 1 card. Yep. It's just shocking to me. I can't believe it. I honestly can't believe it. It just feels so unlucky. I'm probably going to lose because of it, because what happens when you don't draw lands is that you then draw all lands. Oh, okay, we get a land. Nice. So they have their Hullbreaker Horror now, for sure. With whatever backup they wanted. Yep. And they have 2 lands up still. And then they'll have a counter spell for this, and we'll lose. Oh, man. This game was so winnable if I just didn't literally draw nothing in the top half of my deck. I mean, no lands. I have 23 lands in there, and I drew 5 of them. That's just really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. But I'll see you in the deck tech for this blue-white control deck. Okay, so this is my best attempt at building the deck that just defeated me. Blue-white control. Of course, we saw the Hullbreaker Horror win condition. We saw the Doom Scars, the Memory Deluge, the Farewell. We saw Revitalize, Valorous Stance, Disdainful Stroke, and then I just rounded it out with some cards that I think could be good. So I only ran 1 Farewell, but I also ran 1 Vanquish the Horde as just another sweeper that could potentially do good work. I wanted to go 2 copies Valorous Stance, 2 copies Disdainful Stroke, and I also wanted some removal that could take care of anything or a Planeswalker. So I went with 2 Fateful Absences. I feel like I can overcome the slight card disadvantage. And then I went with 2 Considers because that's a nice play on 8 mana where I can play Hullbreaker Horror and hold up Consider. That could be pretty good. I went with 2 Negates because that can be pretty nice in the right matchup. And then I went 2 Saw It Comings just so my opponent's not 100% sure which Foretell card I have. Restoration of Iganjo as a kind of card that can stop my opponents in their tracks a little bit early game, get me some blocking, and help me find my lands. And then 26 lands, including 2 Seagate Restorations, 2 Emeria's Call, and then 1 Otawara, 1 Iganjo, 2 Hall of the Storm Giants that we saw, and then basically that's the deck. So we're going to take it for a spin, play 1 more game in this episode, and then depending on if we win or lose, we'll either end the episode by building the deck we lose to, or we'll just start with this deck next time. So I'll see you folks in the game. Okay, welcome to the round. We have a solid hand, 3 lands, some cantrips to help us hit our land drops, a removal spell. I think this will be pretty good. Being on the draw is a little bit rough. Okay, maybe against a green aggro opponent. That could end badly. We're going to start by playing this as a tap land. We don't want to take unnecessary damage. can consider is still a fine play, even a bit later, especially since we have this Hullbreaker Horror already. Okay, a green-white deck, maybe a Aura's strategy. Ooh, pro werewolves. One of the powerful things this sort of deck can do is just hold up a bunch of options. So we have Valorous Stance, Disdainful Stroke, or Revitalize right here. Sure thing. We do have plenty of sweepers, so... in a little bit of trouble, I'd say. We have plenty of ways that we can kill all their creatures. We also have that Farewell that can kill the Wedding Announcement. Maybe that's why they played Farewell. Maybe I'm supposed to play 2 copies of Farewell. So they want to make another human. Makes sense. Or they want to cast a 4-drop. Obviously, them casting a 4-drop would be best for me. Yep, we will not let them have that. Looking for a sweeper. Okay, another Hullbreaker Horror is not the best. Okay, that's fine. Maybe they'll know that that's a Doomscar. Or maybe they'll just think that it's a counterspell or Behold. That is a yikes. So I guess they aren't afraid of it being Doomscar. Unless, of course, they're not going to be putting in creatures. They might just be putting in, like, Asika's Chariot and stuff. Ren and 7. Okay. I would say I'm in a bit of trouble here. So they probably knew that was coming. I do have this Valorous Stance to take care of this token, or I could Otowaru it. I will need to draw like my Memory Deluge for some card advantage coming up here. What's the ultimate on this? I think I have to do that. And now I just want to draw a land. But I can always Memory Deluge Valorous Stance the token, because I'm relatively sure they're going to make a token. Oh, no, they're not. Huh. Need to hit my land drops. That's a great card to have here. And I'll draw planes, I think. I can take care of all of that stuff. Certainly in a little bit of trouble here.
We can foster much growth.
Sure. I really hope I draw a land here. I think I'm going to lose. I needed to hit more land drops. I think I was supposed to take the farewell there, though. They're going to ultimate this thing. Oh no, I can exile all graveyards? What the heck just happened? Oh my gosh. Well, that's brutal. Tough episode. Tough episode indeed. If I could have gotten my Hullbreaker Horror into play, I think I would have been in fine shape. They're just going to make this thing a 4-4 and win. The fact that they had this Ren in 7 was really a big problem. Well, I guess we'll construct our opponent's deck and then call it an episode. Unfortunate one for sure. Didn't really hit the draws I needed, but such is life. Okie doke. So before I wrap up the video, I want to show you the deck I'm going to be starting the next episode with. I did my best to build my opponent's deck. I know they had Ren in 7, Storm the Festival, Yasharn, Isika's Chariot, Felidar Retreat, Wedding Announcement, Guardian of Faith, Catilda, and Prosperous Innkeeper and the Florahedron. So I figured they probably wanted Lotus Cobra as another way to ramp up to these big 4-mana plays. Scoot Swarm can play pretty well with some of these land triggers, like you might have extra lands in the late game thanks to Yasharn and things like that. So I figured Scoot Swarm could be a good fit. A couple Touch of the Spirit Realms for good interaction, and also you can like use them to rebuy your Isika's Chariots or your Sharns. I just figured it's good to have a little bit of interaction, especially because you have Storm of the Festival where you can maybe find them if you really need them. 23 lands and then 3 Tangled Florahedrons to have kind of 26 mana sources. Really want to be able to maximize the odds of playing one of these 10 4-drops on turn 3. And then, yeah, I think Scoot Swarm also works well with like Wedding Announcement, buffing up tokens and stuff like that. So that was another reason I decided to include it. So like 1 Catilda, because you don't really ever want to draw multiples. Then 3 Wrens, 3 Asharns, because they're kind of legendary and drawing multiples can be tough. 3 Felidar Retreats, because it can be a little bit clunky. And then mostly 4 ofs. And then mana base pretty straightforward. 3 layers, 1 Iganja, 1 Boseiju, mostly basics other than that. And then the dual lands. And yeah, that's the deck. And that is going to do it for this episode. If you did make it all the way to the end of the video, remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and comment below with your questions, thoughts, and feedback. I know it wasn't really a lot of victories today, but definitely got to see some of the stuff that those decks could do. If you did make it all the way to the end and you want to let me know that you made it, leave hashtag Team Black Green or hashtag Team Blue White to let me know which of the 2 decks I played today you enjoyed watching more. Remember that if you would like to support my content, you can do so via Patreon, patreon.com/NicolaiBolas. It's linked in the description down below. It is a monthly pledge website where you can essentially subscribe to my channel for any amount of your choosing each month, and you gain access to some cool rewards and help me continue making all of these videos. But yeah, this is going to be a fun one to start next episode with. I'm excited to see how it plays out, but until then, I will talk to you. Until then, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you next time.